So we got to look at a new drought map that came out today, and there were no real updates. I mean, it's still pretty bad out there. Parts of the triangle are under what they describe as exceptional drought. That's the most severe category they have. Now, we got a few inches of rain earlier this week, and it did nothing. Didn't even put a dent into it. So what is it actually going to take? Well, meteorologist Aimee Wilmoth published a story today saying, well, it was kind of a startling headline, saying a hurricane or several tropical storms might be what it takes, what we need to get out all of this. We need so much rain, and we typically only see that amount of rain during those tropical systems, during things like a hurricane. And that seems like a pretty tough ask. Obviously, nobody wants a hurricane. We see how bad things can get when one of those hits. Even something like Chantal last year, which was not a hurricane, I mean a tropical storm, caused major problems. There are people still not back in their homes right now, almost a year after we got hit with all that rain. Kind of feels like we are stuck between a rock and a hard place. We need lots of rain. Lots of rain could cause problems. But it's not all doom and gloom. There is some hope that we can bust through this drought without dealing with the chaos of a hurricane. I talked with meteorologist Kat Campbell about what that might look like. All right, Kat, so let's talk about first what we would need to see during this tropical season, aside from a hurricane that brings its own list of problems.
We could be really helped out by the tropics in a way that's not getting slammed by a hurricane at the North Carolina coast or something like that. We could get remnant tropical rain, and that would be definitely a better way to get out of the drought if we had a couple of systems that maybe came up from the Gulf. They weakened significantly, so they were no longer a hurricane or tropical storm when they got here, but they still brought the rain our way. That could easily bring us, 2 to 4 inches of rain, and if we had a couple of rounds of that, the soil would probably be able to soak in those 2 to 4 inch totals, unlike instantly seeing a foot of rain from a hurricane slamming into the coast.
So let's say we get a little bit of help there, but of course we would need more as the season changes into the fall. What is the outlook as we get into that part of the year?
One of the best things that we could see that would really benefit us is something called an upper level low. It's not something that we talk about all that often, but it is a system that is cut off from the jet stream, and that's significant because it can't move. Once those upper level lows set up, the jet stream isn't there to push them along. So we're able to see these rounds of rain for a couple of days straight that bring us a steady rain, but it may not be as heavy of a rain. So if we had a couple of days of steady rain, that could really benefit us. And we sometimes see that as we head into the fall with these upper level lows.
So another little baby step there. Of course, this is the slower path, so we would need some help in winter. Also, are you able to know what winter might look like?
Well, El Nino years typically have wetter winters, especially in the eastern part of North Carolina. So the farther east you go, the wetter things tend to be during El Nino seasons, but that could really help us out as well. It would be a slower path to get to the end goal of ending the drought, but it may be a little bit of a happier path to get there as opposed to one big hurricane hitting at once.
Got it. Thank you, Kat. So, not all bad. There is a reasonable way out of this, but it's probably months away. That's where all of these restrictions come into play. So Raleigh, Durham, Rocky Mount all enforce tighter rules to help conserve our dwindling water supply. Wilson and Nash counties just launched some restrictions this week. Other places are asking people to voluntarily cut back, but we might see that change too. People apparently, though, just aren't listening as well as some of our leaders would like. People are actually, if you can believe it, using more water right now within the city of Raleigh water system, which includes other towns like within Wake County, than they were last year at this time when there weren't any restrictions in place. And so now they're handing out a bunch more warnings and they're trying to get people on board. Enforcement's ramping up, and it's because the outlook isn't great. Here's what Ed Buchan, the city's assistant water director, told us.
This is what we think will be the drought of record, which means the most serious drought this area has ever experienced. I was here during the 2007 and 2008 drought, which at that time was our drought of record. I believe this will surpass that.
So let's do a quick history lesson, all right? He mentioned 2007 was the worst drought that we have ever seen. I mean, it covered huge portions of the state, and there was widespread water restrictions in place, and it was bad, frankly. The restrictions, I should say, were a lot stricter than what we are seeing right now. So Raleigh water customers are currently under a stage 1 restriction. The main impact is just people watering their lawn, the grass outside. You can use your sprinklers, but only on certain days of the week. In 2007, people couldn't use water for anything beyond normal hygiene. So you could shower, use the bathroom, use the toilet, wash your clothes, but that was pretty much it. Since people aren't listening, the Raleigh city manager, I should say, says that restrictions might ramp up next month to stage 2. And here's what that would look like. It would be a ban on all sprinklers, penalties ramping up for people who aren't listening to the restrictions. People really wouldn't notice that much of a difference. It wouldn't be a lot different than what you're seeing right now. But if it gets as bad as what we saw in 2007, that is where most people will notice, in that stage 3 category. You wouldn't be able to water your lawn at all in any way. Some car washes would have to close unless they're using reclaimed water. Athletic fields would stop getting watered. People's pools wouldn't be able to be refilled. So personal pool, neighborhood pool, public pool, anything like that, unless it was for some sort of safety reason. There's also the impact on farmers, of course. The drought is really wreaking havoc on them. That could mean less crops being produced, higher prices at the grocery store, less trips to the farmers market for families. In 2007, the governor had to ask for a federal bailout to help our farmers and their businesses just to survive. The bottom line, things aren't looking great right now. Whether it's the path that Kat lined out for us, it's a little longer, some sort of tropical system, or even a hurricane. We just need a lot of rain to get through this. We've been talking about this drought for a while, and we'll continue to talk about it. So much of the conversation is driven by your feedback and emails, so keep them coming. Send an email, 7 p.m. at WRAL.com.